by Henrietta, and we did the Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge during our workshop. Let's go on to old business. Let's approve the minutes, and we'll go on to the discussion regarding the facade.
Don't I need to make some kind of correction to the minutes sitting here? Don't I supposed to make
You
a-
should. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot that one, sorry. You and Nancy.
There's no additions or corrections.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Lambert, second by Mr. Pruitt. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Okay. Board, if you don't mind, let's go to Mrs. Pat Brown regarding the facade. Brown, thank you for being here today.
I've not seen you in a while.
I know
Fine. For an old woman, still kicking.
Kick him hard, yeah.
Kick 'em hard.
Kick 'em all out, get to it.
Do you want me to tell them what we're going to do, or you?
I'll tell it and you kind of chime in.
Just say yes or no.
And so, I need my calculator out. So I've been working with Roy. Thank you, Roy. Roy's been a good hand on in talking to some of the businesses and what they've done. So I think Pat had this project she's been working on. This is part of those projects where I say this is the last one, but I think this is pretty much it as far as projects that know that we didn't do a good word in the past of letting the business owners know that they had to come to us beforehand and do that as far as the facade grant that we have available. So after these projects, I know we're going to come back with some amendments and have some more on the future moving forward. So Pat had done some improvements to our property. If you look at the pictures right here, you can see the way the old aesthetic building, and I think you can notice the most was the sign. You can see where the sign was rotten away, and then the old awning was like dingy. You could tell where it was dingy and kind of just falling apart, real brittle. And I really like the way it looks right now. And I haven't talked to you yet, but I'm going to kind of get on the fly. But as next year, some of the things we might be working on is maybe helping you with the lighting with Christmas to go with the downtown.
Okay,
So
yeah. I've
we'll
got
do-
the lights up there, I just never even got them turned on.
Yeah, well, as far as having the same lights, we're going to offer that if you want to do the same lights as
I'd like to
downtown.
hitch into yours, because I used to have them.
Yeah.
connected with-
So we do that, going in, maybe lighting up with some of the businesses to have that corner. So we're going to work on that. So you can see the difference from there to how bright the sign is. And I mean, how bright the sign is. You come in on C Street right there, that's your entrance, right? You got Phelps Building in there, and I really thank her for doing that. And I like the all green awning. And it's not just there, she went on the other side as too, I think.
Yeah, there's four of them.
There's four
two
on,
side windows.
this is just the front, so there's the two sides. So you have the look from not only C Street at the corner, but coming down Business Loop and then coming down C Street from downtown. So she had done this, and you can see the paperwork there. So I don't know, how long did it take to get it done, Pat?
It was quite a while, and actually, you know, when they put those awnings up, I think that was one of the last things that, God bless them, the whole homes did, was put those awnings up, because it took them a good long while to get them made. And I think about him every time I look at those awnings.
Yeah, and that's a good story to tell. So I want to let people know that it was done with a really good family in mind. So it's a project that had been open for quite a while, but with what we've done in the past, I think we've honored some of the previous business owners. So I want to stick to that trend as well. So my recommendation is she has spent 2,000. 29, 27, and what am I doing? I can't even think right now. Divided by 2, so that comes out to 1463.60. That would be my recommendation, is to help with the 50% of the 2,700 or 2,900, 2,719.
And I'm gonna plow that back in the trim boards that need
Okay.
to be replaced.
Oh, along the
and
edge.
And that's what, that one's gonna go through that.
Yeah.
What's
And
the
also,
dollar amount there?
29,
To approve 1462?
yeah, 1463, 660.
Is there a motion for, say the dollar amount again, 1462?
1463, 60,
I make a motion to reimburse Ms. Pat Brown 1462,
63.
63. Second that.
Motion by Mr. Lambert, second by Mr. Galvin, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay.
Thank you very much.
You know, the city should pay her rent because you give her directions how to get there. Said, well, go to Pat Brown's and take a left and go to City Hall.
Yeah, what, tell
Is
us,
she the Google
so,
first?
hold on.
It was about the third year that the FEDC was in effect.
Uh-huh.
And I was, first I was served on the board for 1 year, and then I was the chairman, and I want to say maybe it was probably 2, because it felt like 2 years, I think. But,
Before you got here, we were talking about,
I'll tell you more story of it, huh?
Yeah.
go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead.
The first project that we really truly did, and did well, and paid off, was we okayed and stood up for the loan that, Galen Brownski did for the theater. And he went in and did that, and that theater's been a blessing ever since then. Before that, there was nobody downtown after 6 o'clock. It was like Death Valley. And after the theater got open, well, we've got cars all over.
All over the
You know,
place.
It's just
All the
nice.
time.
Yep.
So that was a pretty darn good start.
And they have great popcorn.
Yeah.
They
Okay,
do.
good.
I've got to go get some during the day.
Very good. So I appreciate your help. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here.
I
But
really-
like I was saying, we were talking about Floresville and compared it to Fredericksburg. So you've been in downtown for so many years, what do we need to do? What changes
We
would you
need
recommend?
to work on all of our buildings because they are an absolute gem. There are towns that would kill for these buildings that we've got. Every one of them's over 100 years old.
Oh my
And my God, I mean, they're historical. And they've got the neatest lines and different things that they have in all the trim and things that we don't capitalize on. And we had a start with a Head Start programs and things like that a couple times, and we'd get it going and it would die. You know, it's like dadgummit, and because it needs to be done, and we.
And stay on a consistent
and-
basis.
Yes.
So I can tell you that one of the things as board is, that's our main goal. We came up out of future workshop is downtown, and
Yeah.
hopefully we continue.
Because that makes, you know, this, we've got the courthouse, which is really a good showpiece, and it got redone, thank God. So it's looking good, and we just need to build back around all this.
Well, if you
square.
can help us as you try to, as a realtor,
I
let
talk
people
all
know
the time.
we have these grants available
So-
and that they are real. I think
Okay.
that's a myth that people said, oh, you can't get any money from the EDC. No, it is, that's what we're here for. So, so just so they know, is anybody that spends up to $15,000, you can help.
Do that easy.
Up to 75, up to 50%, you get 7,500 reimbursement. And we can stagger that, so as you do other projects you're building, if you come to me in advance, like you said, you want to put that money into it, this is phase one. If you do more, you know, you still have 6,000 to spend on it. So come up beforehand, let us know to the board, and we'll do it the new way, the appropriate way. And
It's amazing. It's the first time I've ever gotten any money given back to me.
that's what we
Usually
want.
the hand is out saying, give.
No, that's what we want. We just want to spread that, and then the only way to do that is word of mouth. So the more we can get that good
Okay.
publicity out
Spread the
there,
word.
and we really appreciate it. That's all we ask in
Very
return.
good.
Man, you need to make a, talk with Ms. Brown about a lot of the histories from these downtown buildings.
Yeah.
She could help you a lot with the marketing as
I'm
far
old
as
as
bringing
dirt,
people.
and I grew up, you know.
I know.
So I can tell you stories about all of them. Mhm.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, where my building is, right there. When I was a little girl, about 4 or 5, my daddy used to deliver gasoline, and that was a little gas station on that corner. As a matter of fact, where my desk sits was the driveway through there.
Oh, wow.
And there's still the corner things that were actually the corner post of that service station. Or they're covered over the wood molding now, or paneling, but they're still there. They hold up the dang roof.
Wow.
And that's been a long time ago, because I'm 82 years old, so you can figure out how many dang years that was back. And it was not a new building then.
Was it vacant before Earl did a remodel of it, Eschenberg?
Huh?
Was it vacant before our election?
No, it's had a jillion different people in there for different things. At one time, it was a Merle Norman shop. It was, when I bought it from,
All right.
RL. Anyhow, it had been, insurance company for part of it, and then Mr. Prater had his little real estate office in the back office back there where we have the copier. He couldn't have turned around and so there were different things like that it had been rented for and was. Basically at the time I bought it.
There used to be a TV repair shop too.
It's been
Yeah.
everything through the years. It's been a jillion different
We
things.
didn't have a question
So
as to how
it's got
about
lots of history.
purchasing bills and businesses downtown. I can get a hold of them. I think Pat may be a good person to ask that.
We're gonna-
Just talk about downtown inventory.
Mhm.
What's available?
I used to have a whole list, because once before, when we tried all this stuff, I had a whole list. We had picked photographs of every building in town and taken the in order. We kept those all in, and who owned each one of them and their addresses. I'll have to go look, because
We
have
I
that.
keep
We have
everything.
that.
God, I may still have it. I don't know.
There's probably about 7 storefronts at least that are still.
That vacant.
That are vacant.
Yes.
Yeah, that just cry to have something in them.
Exactly.
Yes.
So as you talk to people, just know that we want to be there to help,
Okay.
help that business thrive any way we
Good.
can.
I'll be glad to be your cheerleader.
Okay? That's what we need. Appreciate it.
It's
I
my
like
town.
that, I like that, Mark.
Thanks for stopping by.
Very good, well, I thank you for helping me. I appreciate it. And I'm here to help you guys.
Nice to meet you,
Nice to
Mr.
meet you too.
Can't wait to
Thank
talk to you again.
Good to see you. Tell Francis hi. Okay. Hi. And you, it's cold outside. All of a sudden, it's
Yeah,
like,
Culver
well,
came in.
It is so long.
you doing okay, Ray?
So far, so good.
You had to work, you sure you don't wanna be a volunteer? We have some help in here, you know?
Well, I understand that. Honey, I've spent years and years and years to, Randy can tell you. But he remembers from the last time, Gloria.
Did you help get the car?
Yes,
You
no,
saw the
I'm
picture?
fine, I'm fine. I'm going. All right,
Okay, let's
but
go up.
anyhow,
Back.
keep up the good work.
All right.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am. Look for you, ma'am.
And I'll make it do something.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
look great.
Thank you.
Take care.
I'll find my work out, yeah.
Yep.
Let's go to item 2A, the IRS status. We have our finance director, Heather Martinez, with us.
Yes,
Give us
Mr.
an
Chairman.
update. Go ahead,
We've
ma'am.
been going on and on about this for some time, and Helen is now no longer our interim, but our finance director. And she's trying to get a handle on that, and so I wanted her to come and be able to present to you where we are. It's not solved, but going in the right direction. Helen?
Yes. As Ms. Turner mentioned, it's been going on for some time, so I can't really take credit for this spreadsheet, but I can thoroughly explain it, and it was done by Randy Holler, one of our consultants that worked with Connie before I got the position. So, is everybody here?
Under your tab A,
Yeah.
2A,
2A.
Hey.
okay.
Okay.
There you go, there you go.
So the top part, is everybody get the spreadsheet?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the top part is the payout, the contract payout amount that was paid out along with the vacation payout. And that was done through actual payroll, and it was done by a direct deposit into his account. So as you can see, they withheld $10,571.86 in federal withholdings. They took out $2,199.64 in FICA and $514.43 in Medicare, for a total of $13,285.93. And the second one, lo and behold, Mr. Baker didn't want any taxes withheld. So they went ahead and the city went ahead and cut an accounts payable check to him on October 3rd, 2018 for an additional payout amount, contract amount of $2,826.96. And they also refunded his taxes deducted, which was $13,285.93 for a total of $16,112.89. So the total cash received by Mr. Baker was $38,304.96. So if you go to the items highlighted in yellow, you'll see the corrected amount in May is should be $38,304.96. And there was an additional FICA and Medicare amount, $2,374.91 and $555.42. If you subtract $2,374.91 from $2,199.64, on the bottom in like a peach colored highlight, you'll see the differences between the two. So in the FICA, there's a difference of $175.27. In Medicare, there's a difference between the $555.42 and the $514.43 of $40.99, which is the refund that's being requested from the IRS of $10,355.60. I did call IRS today to try and confirm. They were very reluctant to give me any information. They said that that was confidential information. I said, well, we sent a W-2 change on his behalf, and they said they couldn't give us any information. Okay? The amount we showed you for Mr. Baker is the FICA and the Medicare amount of $2,930.33. Y'all have any questions?
So we did fill out the form. What number? They have a lot of numbers for forms. There's a form number to get that refund of the $10,355.60 to from the IRS of what we need, because Mr. Baker did have an amended W-2 form. So we're just waiting to see if they refund it. If they send us money back, we have to wait to see on a quarterly basis if they refund that. So we're checking it to see if they just refund it, because one department doesn't speak to the other. So this is $10,355 we're expecting back from the IRS, because you all paid it, but Mr. Baker went ahead and filed it on his taxes. And then that overage of the $2,900, you have to decide if you want to go up after Mr. Baker for that $2,930.
Have we had any communications with him?
Other than the fact that I did send him a letter that our attorney, meaning we share Sylvia, that our attorney prepared to tell him that this city, that he was overpaid and that we may come after him at some point for that, but I did not say that we would definitely go after him, but we did mention the bail threat that we could come after him for those outstanding funds.
They said there might be a demand letter with a notice. And my understanding, speaking with Ms. Turner, he did not take it very well.
He almost fainted. So because I think he, at that time, which was late of 2019, he still was not employed.
When Mrs. Martinez made the call, would she be the person, the point of contact for the city, or because?
Well, yeah, she would be the point of contact, because we give payments to the IRS, and if any refunds come, it'll come through her office.
Okay.
Yeah.
She knows, she'll be able to.
Yeah, they're communicating with you.
Yes. And then the consultant that put this together, Mr. Holler, he's scheduled to be here at the end of February again, and we'll be using his assistance when he comes back to see if he can help us file some more forms to find out where we are. But this is definitely something, but I think that Helen did a great job explaining it better for you all to hear from the finance queen than for me. So, and she prepared these documents, so I wanted to give you this updated information.
Any questions for Helen?
I would just say basically to you, sir, I guess the board will eventually have to make a decision about those 29.
Yeah, we might put it on a new business action item in the future so we can vote on it. Just kind of, the sooner we get there, the sooner we can get it resolved. So,
Well, actually, that's.
they sent the letter out already.
You know, take it into action if you want to take any further action. You would need to give direction to your attorney.
Actually, I think it would be the city's action.
Your money. You decide. It was your employer.
We'll, I'll talk with them about it.
Yeah, we can discuss it.
We'll discuss that. We'll do that one out.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. Okay? Okay,
Thank you. Just want to say hi to Ray. I haven't seen you in years.
I know, good to see him. Have you been?
You been around? Where you been? Huh? I know, but I don't think work. She doesn't leave.
I don't care, 6 o'clock. Got the number.
Okay, let's go to 2B, the financial overview with Mr. Roy.
Alrighty, I guess we have, for January, we have And it's about 10,000 more than the previous year for that fiscal year for that month. So, seems like it's correlating in same percentage of the 5-year monthly average collected. So it has increased, about $10,000 for that month. So, we're still target for the year. And I don't know if Benjamin has anything else that.
No, I just think if you look at it,
Yeah.
we took a dip last month, but we could sell, it really came up this last month, and I think that's the trend. February is, I think it's a few months behind from the holidays, so I'm interested to see what February is gonna be, if we can break that 90,000 again. I think we're on track at our 5%. It shows right now, from last year, we're above 3.61%. You'll see some of these numbers start to change now because as the previous numbers come in, I guess 2 months behind, the annexation was in October, so you'll see now more of these annexation numbers help our sales tax.
Our annexation took effect October 1, and I just recently received an email in late January from the state comptroller's office after we officially notified them of all the current filings. And so they sent me a massive list of all of the addresses within our 7811 zip code that pay taxes. And so I'm asking them to help me with your, what's the name of that company, tax?
Zac Tax.
Zac Tax that you all have hired to help us go through it to make sure, because not everybody that has a Floresville address is actually owes me taxes, because some of them are in the ETJ. So we need to verify, Zac Tax?
Zac Tax, what I'm doing is
Has
I'm
a
asking.
list of existing ones, the one we had before, and then this new list of which ones we need to add based on the map of what we
And
annexed.
show me the
in.
new ones, and then I can narrow down the new ones, which ones are being changed due to the annexation, so we can get that turned into the comptroller.
Did I send that back to the comptroller?
Controller actually received.
Yes.
Sales the money that is
Yes.
due from that annexation.
Yes, and he said they'll go back to October 1 when it was in effect.
Right.
But they want us to identify
And
the
then
businesses.
which ones are.
And to make sure that we receive the payment, like, say, for example, like Cook's Pump Co. out there, or Will Call that is in town that was in the county previously, or, Garrett Garage, that was in the county, and then she's been paying sales tax and all her stuff. We go identify those, they'll go back to October and then refund us the money that's due with the annexation. So we just gotta,
It'll be from the state comptroller to tell them, now you have to charge this additional amount.
Yeah.
So that you can do that, but you need to go back and charge them with the sales, and they already have the recorded sales, so it'll go back to October 1.
So they got the annexation letters, but they should have been from the annexation letters charging the extra. Now if they haven't, then they still owe that. The comptroller's gonna collect it from them.
Yes. But I want Zac Tax to help me because I need to be as critical as possible. Because as Roy pointed out to me in doing his research, is that there are a lot of home businesses that are doing business that we're not getting sales tax from. And so this Zac Tax people will help us, actually do it right and make sure that we notify everybody that we're supposed to, so that they can let us know. And so it was nice that they let us look at the list, because they have an idea, but we want to be exact. And so I want to thank you for that, but I'm thinking that's definitely going to be a bread and butter literally for you all to be able to do that. Because we found some little shelving company that we didn't know that's selling custom-made shelves and stuff like that he didn't want to be annexed. He's a pretty good moneymaker with those cabinetries, and so now we get the sales tax from that. And so we want to make sure that we get all of them. And sometimes the name of the company is not who is doing business as. And so Zac Tax is really going to help us drill down into that.
That was more south of town,
Right.
different ones.
So this number be adjusted then at
Yes,
that time?
because then they'll go back, and he said they'll go back to October 1, because you believe me, I sent them, it was so funny, it's my first time, we had so many documents. One of the documents I had to record was over 105 pages of what we've done for that. So I sent it to them on a thumb drive of all the stuff that was recorded, and the maps, and the minutes, everything, and they said, we got it, Henrietta, we got it. I'm like, okay. So they said now they're ready, so Austin is definitely has accepted our annexation, and so that's one of the results. So I'm excited, because that's also, that's gonna help us, that you're gonna see very quickly the new sales tax that'll happen in reference to
Well,
that.
because there have been a lot of people having a right for free and collecting the money, but they don't paying us, and they're still doing business from inside of the city.
So that's it.
So that's it. Any questions on anything else?
If we can talk about funding for a while, the city council at their last meeting, which they had last Thursday, did accept your wonderful $255,000 for the parking lot. So that's exciting. The sidewalk grant, they did the walkthrough today with the bidders, and they had over 8 bidders with them to physically walk it, and if they had any questions, because there's some unique things in that bid, as you can imagine. Closing down, what you gotta do, because those businesses still have to be open and those kind of things, so they need to be able to see it. And then, of course, it has a historical portion of it too. So they had 8 bidders that actually showed up and walked through it, so I'm excited.
And I talked to them today, so as they walked, we said, well, we might want to add some things on as far as maybe run an electrical line to do those lights as we do it, so they kind of knew that we might be adding some different
If
things.
we put those on, it's kind of like, you know, like a la carte. Here's your base bid, so we're doing the base bid, and then different options that we can add in or add out. So while they're doing the numbers, they can sharpen their pencils then, and we can either say, no, I'm not gonna do that, or opt
Let them know
in or
that they
opt
just
out.
work with us on maybe one of our projects as we get closer, and if we decide that we want to improve the quality of life downtown for safety and lighting, we can run that water, because they only get one shot at doing that, so.
I talked to 2 businesses that they want to know if they're going to be notified in time for
Oh, they will.
with the parking part of it.
Yes, one of the things that we talked about with the contractor is that we're gonna have some small town hall meetings so that we can talk about that in each business, because each one's gonna be a little different, you know, so we want to introduce them to them, and so we can talk about how they wanna be able to do it. So yes, we wanna be able to
So
have.
they were working in front of them, they will park across the street, or they use the parking lot on the back.
Yeah, so we're gonna let them know the parking, and then I'm asking her to invite me to the town hall meetings, because I think, as you saw, like when we did the gift certificate thing, but not only that, but how we can help with some of our new business funding for our marketing funds for signage saying, hey, we're still open. If you see like churches, I think they did an excellent job. We can learn from that on the highway, even though they had it going on, they didn't complain. They just put some buckets of sand from McCoy's, and they had a sign that says, we're still open, come in. So as we have these businesses that are being construction, I think that's where we can help with economic growth and continue that they don't take a downturn during this improvement, where we can help them with using them as we do some of these events, with some gift cards, or we help them with some signage saying, hey, we're still open.
Okay, then let's go to the next item. Let's talk about the cardboard breakfast.
Okay, so this is a little different. This is just a story of what he sent in as far as requests, but I'm not asking to buy a table this year or anything like that. What I'm asking for is that we become kind of like the trend, like we did with the being a sponsor, becoming a title sponsor, and I'm requesting that we. I think that's a good marketing ploy, brings a lot of people, has a good cause. We worked with them when we did the house downtown, when they helped with Lodi Park. So we can become a title sponsor of that event. I talked to Brenda for $500, and it's more of a marketing thing they're going to throw in this for us. But you know, that's one thing is, in the past, everyone came to us, you know, sponsor a table, whereas now we're taking a different approach where I'm asking them to announce us as EDC, we're here to help support your businesses, become a sponsor like that, and then if they decide as part of their sponsorship package we're working on right now, if they throw in some tickets or a table, that's up to them. But what we want to come is on the marketing side and just market the EDC with this event. It's pretty neat. They bring in people from all over the state. I think they bring some people from out of state too as well.
So your recommendation is to approve the sponsorship?
Yeah, sponsorship of $500 for this event.
Is there a motion to that effect?
Make a motion to sponsor $500 for this event.
Is there a second?
I second.
Mr. Eadrock and Mr. Pruitt. Make the motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let's go to the next item, the MOU with the city.
So if you go to C, I know Sylvia can chime in, and Henrietta, is this is just the what we're working on is a memorandum of understanding. There's some more paperwork that they're continuing to work on. Is that not in there right then? You had a generic form of it you were working on.
Yes.
But this is kind of the thing we're looking at. So you can see one thing we really want to push and working with Henry right on this is showing the community what this MOU looks like visually. So you can see where the citizens of Florida will come at the top. You know, they're the ones that are the voters that run the town. And from there you go to the city council, which they're voted to make decisions for them. But then you can see the solid line to the 4A and the FEDC. They set the boards. And then you can see Henrietta reports to the city council. And the dotted line is kind of the MOU where I guess Henrietta will kind of ties it together, how she works with those boards, but then how the FEDC will work with the city manager right there. So she works with the city manager, myself as a director will work with herself in the 4A as we work on certain events. And then from there you have the assistant, you have Charlotte. And then on the 4A side, you'll see the facility supervisor, which is Ches Perez. He reports to the city manager and to the 4A. So you'll see the dotted line. So as we plan events or work towards things like the Freedom Fest or Celebrate America, we're deciding to maybe change some of the names to, work to plan those events for, like you said earlier, better quality of life for our community. And then we need to stagger this a little bit and bring it down because as Charlotte, you can see the name of it. There's a director, a supervisor, Charlotte's an assistant, and you see a secretary. So the facility administrator will kind of come down and some of the recommendations are they'll report to Charlotte on certain events that we're doing over there. So we need to stagger that a little bit, make that change. And then from there you have the sports park workers and the maintenance at the event center.
Henrietta, so looking at this org chart, where is the memorandum of understanding? What's the meat of it?
So some of the meat of it is that we have to put and document what we've been doing. Because we've been doing, I mean, you know, we talked about the sidewalk, we talked about the parking lot, and I found out historically, even going back to the event center, the turn-in lane and those kind of things, EDC paid for. And so
The business park that we're working on.
The city council instructed their attorney to put together some ideas of what we need to do, what that memorandum is going to do, which is a lot about, everything's really timely, of what's in this workshop. You know, what she talked about, the key components for the 4A, and the 4A is part of this, and 4B, to memorialize those kind of things, say this is our agreement. And so Sylvia, as she said, she's been a little bit busy, but she wants to put those together, but the council approved to move forward, to be able to put all the legalese and the therefores and the whereases together. But what I said on the meeting is that you're putting your money where your mouth is. You know, definitely to put in $1 million over for the parks, $255,000 for the parking lot, and future projects that we have, and a down $50,000 for the. I couldn't have gotten that grant without that I actually could say in writing, you passed, that I had $50,000 promised from EDC for the match on that grant. Really, really helped. So we just want to actually memorialize it. So later on, when we're not here, we can say that this is the understanding for us to go forward. It's kind of like it's always happening, but we need to definitely memorialize that. And so I'll leave it over to your attorney to pick out those high points and the highlights that she wants to put in the memorandum.
And some of those will be with the recommendation of the board and come with you with this MOU and get it finalized, would be helping to oversee the budget. So when the supervisor is there at the facility, he can manage the events and manage the sports complex, and then I can work with him to make sure, and the 4A board, make sure the budget's done cohesively with the EDC and oversee the technical side of some of those things.
I know you're anxious. We are actually working on it. I actually sent out an email to Henrietta and to Ben and say, okay, give me some of this information. This is what we need to improve. This is a sample template.
But does this look like the organization chart? This is the time for you to take the markup. This is the markup.
Yeah.
This is the
For
time.
those that have been on the 4A, we see there's areas of opportunity in inventories, there's areas of opportunity in financial numbers. So this chart right here does not correct any of that. There's no accountability.
No, the accountability will be written, all that listed in the MOU, but in here.
Well, I want to say that you have a wonderful EDC assistant, and this notebook really proves to how organized she can be. And so we're hoping that reason why we wanted to put the FEDC administrative assistant, which is Charlotte, to work with the facilities administrative secretary, which is
Yeah.
Dora on my side, to be able to help that to translate over is what we're trying to do.
And Dora will be reporting
And
her
so
responsibility.
those
That
kind of
isn't
things.
something that will show that.
Well, it
I
can't
guess
show it
we
in
need
the
to put
chart.
little arrows.
You like
just
the arrows is
putting-
better, but
You know, say, right here, this dotted line is just, that's,
Well, we have to stagger this
That's
down.
that's equal.
So we have to stagger this down, so I think
Oh,
when
you
we
want
bring
it.
this list
So you
down
need-
more,
oh, okay.
so it shows,
you can make
here's,
that lower. Usually I just think about how much people make, and she makes so
So
much
you-
more than others, so.
so when you go right here and you go down to it and then.
Pay
over to
scale
it.
come to put it, so we'll make that lower, so that so that the administrators, the facilities administrative secretary reports also to Chaz, but also will report to Charlotte as well.
And ultimately, everybody will report to you.
Yeah, I'm lucky you.
Do you see that?
but if we're not fixing anything, we're having the same people report to the same people.
Charlotte was never in the mix, Ben was
No,
never in the mix.
not Charlotte and Ben.
Charlotte and Ben were never
Well,
in
here,
the
The
mix.
focus, I think, would be the 4A, the 4A staff.
Well, the staff has to be the MOUs, the dotted line, right? The MOUs where I'm gonna be working over and Ches will be working with to report to the director.
Technically-
But technically, if you have it on there, as far as how we pay it out,
Technically, 4A has no staff.
Right.
yeah.
You have staff,
Yeah.
Right.
but technically 4A doesn't have any staff, because they don't pay Chaz, I pay Chaz, Cindy
Yeah.
pays Chaz. So technically, they don't have anything. But the reason why we have to have 4A on here is because that is technically their building.
The advisory.
And so they have to be in an advisory position. The land, that is their building. Yeah, on paper. But,
Well, then just keep it the same.
yeah,
Just
No.
don't make any changes.
no, I need a change. And the change needs to be, and we need to let 4A
So
know.
this is the name.
So, you three that wear the 4A hat, I need to let the 4A know
So
that
you and Chen are at the same
No,
level.
no.
4B is gonna be more active. And it has to do with the fact that they're bringing money to the table, making improvements to that building. And so hopefully, we can be able to do that. But if we want to be able to lower it down, because it's, hierarchy.
We can stagger the whole thing down,
We can
because it needs to be up here, and then they report as a subsidiary, we can just move it over and stagger it
Like I
down.
said, I could just quickly name off projects that I'm at way over, I'm working on right at $1.5 million that you put already of your, EDC money
I think what we're
into that
doing,
facility.
and what we're doing with the dotted lines, we're just showing how the MOUs before, you had these two things entities that didn't work together, it shows how they are working together, how we can work together now, right? We can work together, the triangles, I can work through the city manager with the 4A to get something done, I can work with the supervisor to oversee things to get it done. Now, the MOU is where you're gonna have that list and it's gonna specify, so-and-so will help oversee the budget, so-and-so will,
Because I see specific
to make those
issues.
change.
I see specific issues, let's say inventory issue. Who takes accountability for that on this?
The inventory should be the Facilities Administrative Secretary and FEDC Administrative Assistant. We've started to do some of those things already. Jacob, we had painfully in that closet, I know now more about the inventory than I probably should have. We've already started talking about the,
But it has to be staggered down.
purchase some boards up there so they can see the dates.
But if you have it all in one row, then
Charlotte
the
can
pay
really
has to
help her
come
get
out.
organized on doing
Pay
inventory
doesn't
lists.
come out of here.
Because
It
we're
has
not
to
that
stay in
hard.
line, 'cause
That's like a closet
that's all
account
that's paid out of.
about how to be able to do that.
If I go put her in here, then we have to.
But
pay
the
her.
memorandum of understanding will give us an opportunity, so nobody says,
Specific role.
why it's been there, or what does Charlotte have to say about the inventory?
It will clarify.
This is
It's
just a
kind of like
visual.
for us to be able to work
It's
together.
just saying that ultimately, this individual is gonna be in charge of inventory. This is who is going to oversee this individual who's in charge of inventory. And that's what we're gonna have to
I
be
look at the
specific
day-to-day
in it.
operations, and Roy and Jake, I know they saw the same issues as part of the 4A. There was no,
Accountability.
And it's a definitely a win-win, it's gonna be definitely a win-win for the 4A. And Charlotte, I don't mean to talk about you, but she doesn't like mess. She cannot tolerate it.
But we have to make sure that's something
And
that.
so if
that
she's gonna lay her
everyone should
hands
take
to
on.
it, I really believe that she's gonna take ownership of that, just by her personality, that I know that it's gonna be set a certain
Well, I
way,
know.
and they would do that.
And I think that that's where you're probably gonna have to designate in 4A, you're gonna be advisory and.
Because we're running across some of those things with Helen right
And
now.
you're going to be
Right.
supervised.
We're on some
We
of those with Helen
understand
because she
that
wants a
you're
check.
gonna provide
She wants a
the
check.
building and the property, however, you will be advisory. this individual or these parties will oversee you.
Yeah, because the
and
way
your
they,
actions in
the way she wants it, they wanted it to where you drop the inventory and pay the check later. And they don't understand that, like, these companies that drop the inventory, they want the check right there, they won't drop the inventory, because they pay for it out of their own pocket, they're contract laborers. So if you don't have that check ready, without the right inventory,
And I think the backup that you have from earlier today, that 4A and 4B mimic each other, but of course 4B is more overreaching than 4A because they're more specific. And so you could say that it's designed that they mirror each other, so we could definitely have it to work together, but we need to be able to say that we need to be able to help 4A. I really appreciate the help, and the city, and so we have to be good. So I can have this
What are your
area
thoughts?
lower.
Yeah, when this flow chart is completed, do the employees be able to acknowledge that this is the way it's gonna be and this is the way it's gonna flow?
You're gonna have to let them know.
yeah, because there's gonna be more duties assigned.
This is not something that you made up or the other made up. This is the way one is blessed, it got the blessing of the city council coming through a city manager, and this is the way the cow gonna eat the cat.
So this is what the MOU is coming today. This is what we're approving. We're approving for us to do an MOU to where me as executive director can work with Henrietta to sign those duties.
Yeah.
That's where it flows.
We want to bring
That's
it
where
back
it
to you
starts.
when we have it, and like I said, I wasn't in office today, I was at home, that we'll be able, that this will be on the agenda again, so that you all can do the final one, but we wanted to make sure, Mr. Chairman, that this was going in the right direction.
So,
We're not there yet.
we're not there yet?
I don't think so, but.
We're working on it.
I'm one person.
We'll do different levels, and I think I'm gonna add a little color to it. Maybe.
So that's what I'm asking today, is I'm asking for the board to approve the understanding that we're gonna do an MOU with the city and partner on the different grant projects and collaborate with staff regarding the event center where me and Heather will.
You know, and some of those have been on the 4B for some time. This idea has been there even since Colonel Pettis, that we tried to combine the resources with the 4B with the 4A. You know, we have to acknowledge that the 4A, the event center, has not always received the attention that, you know, it's one of our largest investments, probably the second largest after the sewer plant, and it doesn't always receive the right attention.
So,
And if it comes up on its diamond anniversary, which is 10 years.
Is that Diamond?
Diamond.
Mhm.
Which is 10 years. In June, we want to definitely make sure that we hurry up and bring it up to speed.
Yeah. And to redefine those roles in the MOU and what the 4A's actual role is, because they can't really spend money, they're just an advisory board. So do you meet monthly, do you meet quarterly? You know, if we're gonna share board members, do they meet before our board meeting? So we have a lot of work to do, but today we just need to acknowledge that we're gonna continue to work on this MOU, approved to move forward with MOU.
so Mr. Gaones, and he's on the 4A also, and how you agree with this, that it's a major improvement on the works?
Yes, we have to, you know, we need to, if something goes out, some revenue has to come out. You know, I'm not saying that, but, you know, and a busy function and so on is very easy to not collect for that. If they want 6, 10 sodas or whatever, and you might not collect for all, and that's just an example.
Mhm.
And this is why it's always, I think it's always better that before, when you start stocking those vans, those ice boxes and so on, you have an inventory, and you know how much inventory you have, and then, you know, you start selling.
But we gotta be careful on how the inventory is, because you order it due to expiration date, right? So if you always order a certain amount and you don't have those events, you don't plan, yeah, but,
Yeah, I'm just talking about
yes.
when it goes out.
And that's what we gotta do a better job on a POS system, so we know that we have to get an electric POS system, because right now it's like rolls of tape, so it's rolls of, so once you have a computerized electric system, you can itemize that stuff into the whole.
Yeah. And what I'm saying is that, of course, at every function sometimes, you know, and I think Jess is doing a wonderful job, but in a big event that he has a lot of people working behind the bar and so on, it's hard. It's hard.
Exactly.
And, you know, we have to have an inventory as everything goes up, and it gotta match with the money that is coming.
And that's where we're gonna have these job duties on maybe some roles, accountability, where, you know, we know the supervisor can't be overseeing the bar and doing everything else, because we're working on sponsorships and setting the event up and taking the event down and unlocking doors, whereas we can identify this MOU, when we have these events, this is what the assistant for the EDC is gonna help oversee, the secretary and everyone else.
You know, and if we look at the way it is right now, Ches is in charge of inventories, he's in charge of bookings, he's in charge of the gym, he's in charge of outside. So we need to separate that a little bit.
And it's a lot, because now,
And more and more events coming,
Because
you know, that's
before,
hard with
historically,
the
you can see,
inventory.
that's why I gotta come in and help as well with y'all's approval, because before you just had the event center. Now you have a sports complex, and we're making a sports complex with a splash pad and a nice, fields on the bottom. And then from there, you have not only that, but you have, the gym. We're gonna break that apart, so you're gonna have the event center with the ballroom, then you're gonna have the gym, which is a whole separate calendar for your youth and adult sporting events. And then you're gonna go to your sports complex with your fields that aren't just the four baseball fields, but there are 4 baseball fields, 2 football fields, an amphitheater, and so on back there. And then the next thing people forget about is we don't need to forget about the beer warehouse. That's another part of that thing. So as we were doing these market days and moving forward with that, you also have the beer warehouse. And people always forget about that. That's a big thing that the EDC built that building, but we handed over to the city that falls under the event center as far as renting out and being in charge and maintaining. So for one person to oversee that's going to be very hard. We're going to continue the EDC down our path of working with new businesses, but there's going to be some downtime to where we're going to take on some of these new roles and kind of help oversee the management side of it and work with the MOU. And whether that's a workshop with Henrietta and myself and Charlotte and Ches, and we sit there, and Dora, and we sit there and define those roles and then put them in the paper, bring it back with the vision of what we're starting with this MOU. But this is where it has to start, because before we had nothing on paper on how we could even talk to each other. So
And then you're gonna end up having a starting point that's gonna continue to grow.
it's going to be like an ongoing document. It's going to be like a living document. So as we approve this, I don't think of just starting an MOU that's set in stone that you do it. We do it as a living document so it can continue to be changed and be amended. And
But where is the MOU?
We don't have it
we had to
yet.
have this vision set
Yeah.
first and then get approval to
Yeah.
work on this MOU. So the city council's approved to start this MOU. Now that's what we're asking for today, is for y'all to approve the memorandum of understanding showing that we're going to continue to work on this and move forward.
And that's just to allow it to begin.
And
That's
we
not
can-
that you're approving any MOU.
So we can continue to work on these things as a group, whereas before it was kind of.
So you really want us to approve continued collaboration between the city
Yes.
and FEDC for the memorandum of understanding?
Why didn't you say that
That's the
45 minutes ago?
motion. That's the motion.
Is that the motion, Randy?
That's the motion.
Okay.
I second it.
Okay, just for clarification, we're not approving this org chart. It's-
No, it's a
No.
collaboration.
Okay,
No, just the collaboration.
That's just the beginning stage vision.
okay. All in favor of the motion?
Ray, your second?
I did second it.
Yeah. Mr. Brewer and then Ray. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Okay, the shooting range.
I forgot that. So sorry. Give me 1 second.
What's that Snowzilla slide?
You're gonna sit there by the same there, so let's not.
Man, I found all these maps in the back, and I'm glad they never threw them away. So I want to kind of stand up and gather around here. So I was approached by Henrietta and Mr. Evans, Jesse Evans, with what their concerns were as far as,
I'll put it there. You hold up one side.
okay,
Charlotte, will you put it down with
okay, yeah.
Vanna White.
Hannah, what? So, with what they want to do with the shooting range, they expressed some of their concerns that they had as far as sharing their facility with the county in the past. They had come out to the 4A and asked to do in the back. Well, that's not the vision of the 4A. The vision of the 4A has got baseball fields and rope arenas and houses being built around there. So in the back corner down here, we went and looked at, and we did, the city has approved so we can kind of move forward and whether or not this can take fruition. There's a 4-acre drill site right here with I forget the size, almost 4-acre retention pond. So there's 8 total acres right here that they're using. So we know that there's some restrictions that we have to go to the county because there's only so much you can shoot on certain acres of land. So we're not using this drill site of 4 acres, and the way the terrain goes, it goes at an angle, so you can go into the hill and do berms. There's some things we have to, if we decide to move forward, we have to get with like the city engineer on how to get along this site. On this easement right here, there's an easement where you come over here and come across, come down and come up.
The easement's dedicated when you did the Dumar deal.
Yeah, so getting with him and just having that easement along, because there's no bridge yet, you know, so is there something that they said they can apply for grants to put their own bridge across there once they have dedicated land to go towards to get this built for what the police officers need to train, because it's not just a shooting range, it's going to be a training facility for the canine dog that goes out there themselves to go out there and work. So they'll put a privacy fence around it. I did talk to him about some of the concerns that it's a drill site, so if they come out there and drill, and I said, he goes, what do you do if they come out there and drill? And I said, well, by then if we come out and drill, we'll have money coming in, we'll have money to buy you a facility off to the side. So it's not being used right now, and that's the only piece of property we found that it doesn't have any restrictions in the county on things like that, so we have to move forward and ask just some of those questions on what those restrictions are and if we can do that.
But how about all your adjacent owners that you already sold that you're putting in businesses there with a bunch of rat-a-tat going on?
That's what we have to do. So in order to move forward and go waste time talking to them, so that's what we have to go. We have to go talk to the business that bought and, you know, see if there is any objections to that.
Lieutenant Evans is the ranger master, and so it's not like on a daily basis they're allowed to go. I mean, they have to have certain times when they're going to set up their practice and certain times when they're out there when they have to qualify. As we're getting these new weapons, they have to qualify with the weapons, so they spend some time shooting these new weapons. And so we definitely don't think it's a good idea to have it out there when we're having the roping arena and the baseball and the
No, that's a
kids.
bad idea.
And so we thought that this property, even though it's outside of our city limits, would be a better asset because, you know, we can do it after hours, there's scheduled times and those scheduled periods, but it's not just whenever. But what's happening is that even though we work with the county, we're at their leisure, you know, and we can practice whatever we can do. And so we are getting some new weapons that they need to be able to go and spend some time with and familiarize themselves with, but we don't actually have it out.
So there's 4 landowners that if we just to go talk to and move forward, like, hey, we're going to see if this is a move forward with a viable option to maybe do this. If that's what the board sees fit. We know we're going to have to talk to Mr. Dumar. We're going to have to talk to Mr. Mulholland. I think Patsy Cotton or something has the property back here and the side one. So we'll have to go in there and see.
And even your undeveloped properties that somebody's gonna build on, if somebody's, they're getting there, going to a business meeting and somebody turns loose with an AK-47.
Yeah, that's where we have to do the
Yeah.
hours. So Evans.
Man, I'm all for shooting ranges, I shoot all the time.
Yeah.
I'm not anti-gun. I just, if I had property next door to that and I paid to build an office or a warehouse or a business, and we're having a meeting and all of a sudden somebody's shooting in the background.
And that's where we have to figure out what those times and dates are.
Yeah.
And is this something that the board wants to move forward on and work with them on? I know the city had approved it the other day, so we just need to figure out, we get those times and dates when they need to have those shootings. And it may not be, may be something that we come back to the board and say, look, this is what we have. It may not work.
If this one doesn't work out, perhaps we could find a piece of land somewhere.
That's what I'm saying.
The better fit might get a piece of land that doesn't, is on the middle of where you're gonna have a business that you can
No.
go.
Which after, what have they been doing for qualifications?
Who made that dress?
So right now,
Spending time
right now
with
they
the
have to go to the
county.
county, but they're at the mercy of asking them and the county as they get more and more officers and more trainings. I guess it's harder and harder to kind of get that facility to use.
Where's the county facility at?
On county property right there in Worcester County.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry?
The old dump?
1922.
Yeah.
1922?
I think it's 1922 out that way.
Yes.
And they have, you know, landowners all around there. They just, what they did, they went out and put a big berm into the ground. They shoot into the
So is there any cost to us then on this?
no. there is it, and like I said, if the industrial park doesn't work, maybe we can amend that. I don't know if that's okay, Attorney, we can amend to approve the land lease or a future site to work with them to help find for the city.
What calibers are we talking about?
Oh,
Everything.
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 Yeah,
So not like
5.56,
bazookas or
right?
anything like that.
They have 5.56, don't they?
Yeah, they're gonna have mineral machine guns, they're gonna have everything.
And in order for them to carry those weapons, they have to qualify.
And your sniper guns, they're gonna have to use those.
They have to qualify.
Said they needed right at 50 yards,
Mhm.
50 yards. Was the minimum,
Any more discussion?
yeah.
Yea or nay?
Well, are we approving the land lease, or are we approving Ben's coordination with the current property owners and the adjacent property?
This is exploratory, correct?
Yeah, exploratory of that property. So not to approve a land lease, but to,
So we table
The
the,
possibility.
we should table the,
we just
Fine.
amend it. Can we amend it right now, or we have to, how we recommend so?
Yeah, go ahead and amend it. If there's gonna be an amendment, just not the whole, you're not gonna approve a land lease.
Yeah,
You're going to possibly approve or allowing Mr. Reed to speak to the landowners to see.
Any
if this is-
concerns?
Yeah,
yeah.
to see if this is something.
Oh, the
we can
property at the
facilitate.
industrial park for a shooting range.
Is there any other place that you can see that might work for them? Like
I mean,
afterwards?
Like this, we'll look for one. I mean,
that,
gotta be.
and that's where it has to start, just like the MOU. They came the other day, we talked about it, went to the city, said, hey, the city wants to work with EDC, they approved at this property, but now I can go back to them and say, look, the board feels that maybe this isn't the right location, unless we got approval from all landowners, but y'all approved me to explore the property, industrial park and other property.
And the reason why we have to have it like a lease agreement or something is because I need to make sure that we have an agreement that my insurance can cover that.
Yeah.
But I looked at all of the properties that we have here that the city owns, and it really isn't that many. It just didn't work on any of the properties that we own.
And they can't have it at a public place because they set up these trainings that they have to put this fence in where people can't see them because it's closed off to the
so
public.
Ben, if it's not good in our property, so where would you be looking?
I'll be looking at other properties within the ETJ probably that are available.
And what is our role in that?
I think more quality of life.
You're better with land than we are.
Yeah, we're better with land negotiating in the city. Okay.
I'm
I'm a mom, I'll tell you
grants I
that.
do, but buying land, I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, it's a gift of gab, I guess, of talking to people and just know that this is how we're gonna improve our quality of life for our safety of our community, because as you know, when we do this census, it's gonna come up, we're over 10,000 people, that's a lot. You know, now we have this new canine dog that they have donated to the city, and you gotta find a way to train that dog around these kind of things, so.
Yeah, it's really.
They just can count, and I just want to show how we're willing to work together, and just say, I don't have all the answers, but let's bring it to the board, see if we can move forward on this and get it done, because we know, one thing I do know is out there at the sports complex that is not the place for this
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, it definitely has to be, it's a needed, something that's very much needed. You just gotta find the right place.
Yeah.
Where you just got the right fit.
And it's really not a shooting range, it's really a public safety complex.
Oh, I like that.
I like to see that.
And that's very true, because keep in mind that who's gonna be utilizing
Yeah, I
it,
like that.
we're gonna be
Just a
safety
PD, yeah.
conscious individuals,
Yeah.
which
Well,
are police
Which is really
officers.
important, he really,
that are-
Mr. Brent really touched on it, because we did have, when we presented to the council, we had a citizen to say, why can't the citizens use it?
Yes.
Yeah, and then that can help us, because eventually I know that's something that's needed. So as EDC, I told them, let's sit down and talk. I can go out and market, what can I do to bring an indoor shooting range for the public around here that's needed?
But I like how he said that it's a safety.
Public safety
facility,
complex.
that's what it's
And
gonna
it's-
be.
and it's
Because
creating-
you're gonna have safety conscious people.
And with this complex, we're gonna create new jobs for the,
Write that down, Charlotte, 'cause I'm not gonna remember.
what did you say?
What'd you call it?
Safety conscious,
Okay.
Public safety complex.
Okay, thank you. So she
Yeah, with a
was
safety conscious,
public safety complex.
yeah,
Okay, so our action today is
exploratory,
allow Ben
You
to,
okay?
Explore.
the property of the industrial park and others,
Yes, yes.
for a shooting range?
yeah.
Public safety complex.
Yeah,
Public safety.
of the public safety complex.
The shooting range got another possibility. or 30 miles, the point, sorry, when it comes, what it is, that's about 80-mile round trip, going many days.
Where do you go?
People?
Yes,
Oh,
the
that's
Dutch
where
Park
place
and
to
others.
shoot.
Let's just
Good.
go.
Somebody
For
want
a
to make that
public
motion?
safety
Way down
complex.
there,
That allowing Ben to, what is it?
and I'm very sure a lot of hunters are on
Yeah,
here.
look for-
Explore.
Yeah, explore of properties.
Explore acceptable locations.
I like how we-
Public safety complex.
I like how we do to others because we don't want to run away any kind of business that's already going out there as well.
Go ahead and say at the industrial park, and including the industrial park and not limited to said
Yeah.
location for the public safety complex.
Okay. Anybody want to make that motion?
I'd like that motion.
Okay.
Mr. Governor, second.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Rhodes. Busy. Okay, let's go to the next one. $300,000 grant for the Rural Business Citizens Development, Rural Business Development Program.
Okay, so, on this one, we're just gonna approve a resolution. This is gonna go real fast because it has to be turned in by, Friday. So we're working with USDA, to apply for a $300,000 for a rural business development, grant. There's no matching funds. If we get the approval on it, we would be able to get $300,000 to buy a building downtown to create storefronts at low cost to business owners to start, and as well as a training center to train that 21st century workforce as well. So that's kind of the vision of it, is that you would have, there's a couple of properties have been identified, that we can go after them and purchase them, and then we can rehab them, and then continue to.
Can this be used like for infrastructure also?
Yes, to buy the property, to pay for salaries, to pay for training. We'd have to put like someone in there during that time as well, and it's with no
Okay.
cost.
Anybody want to make the motion to approve the resolution?
I'll make that.
Second.
Mr. Lambert, what do you got? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Okay, the parking lot for the event center, $255,000.
We're gonna amend this one. I just need to have an approval for the resolution 2020-003, because that is the number that the city put on it. We were,
I identified 007, but there was a misunderstanding.
misunderstanding.
And this was actually approved by the board last year, right? Was it last year or the year before?
The year before.
The year before.
Almost 2 years.
2 years ago.
Then it went to the council.
They
and
tabled it.
They tabled it. Now there's a grant that was awarded by the San Antonio River Authority.
For $100,000.
Yes. So we finally made it. Took us a couple of years, but we finally made it. And so, thank you for the $255,000. The council was gracious enough to accept your gift this time.
Wow.
Not to table $255,000.
So you'll see the resolution in there, so it's just to approve the resolution to move forward, and we're gonna do the same thing like we did with the downtown parking lot. We're gonna, as we spend on the project or whatever, we're gonna put it into a line item, and they'll have a report on how that money was spent all the way down till it gets done, so.
Okay, all in favor? I mean, a motion to approve that?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Lambert, the second.
Second.
By Mr. Gowda, all in favor, say aye.
It was Pruitt.
Pruitt, I'm sorry. Mr. Pruitt, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries unanimously. $50,000 for the sports complex.
So we tabled this at our last meeting. We took it to city council the other day, and I spoke to them about how in the past historically, we just gave the city the $50,000 check, and they moved forward with it. We know that there was some questions on how it was done in the past as far as the type of businesses to bring in, how to maintain it. I know that the fields aren't there yet to bring in that kind of facility. Right now, we need to cut the grass and get to a basic land maintenance contract to then we can bring in those professionals to make those fields professional ready. So I'm asking that the council approve for us to maintain those fields ourselves. We made that commitment years ago when we built that park as a member of the board. that we were gonna set aside $50,000, so it's already line item. So this is just giving me the approval to go out for either a bid process or a contract to work on that if it's over a certain amount. So if it's $50,000, I gotta go out for bids. But in the past, we wanted maybe get a local company to come in and give us a contract on the, help me with the.
With the maintenance of it.
With the
and
maintenance
then
of the fertilizer, the licensing
up.
that they need.
And to
And
break
break
it
up that
up.
contract and have that local company that has a little more tied to that property. When there's ants out there, you can call them out more frequently, because they say, hey, there's 350 plus Little League families out here. I've got my local biz on there, and I don't want them, I don't know, I can keep away the ants and gophers and et cetera, and fertilizing it and seeding the field and stuff like
So
that.
the city's contract ended actually at the end of December, but we contracted for one more month to help us get ready for the Little League to start playing on it, the existing company that we had, because it was just a one-year deal. And so for going forward, all we're saying is that city's going, thank you so much, you maintain your fields, but we're not asking for the money. You all want to take it on, and since you're paying for it, to do it yourself. And so the city agreed to not to renew that contract and to allow you all to do the maintenance however you feel. And I know some people have very strong feelings about how to maintain that. So we want to keep that, fluid, going back and forth. So the city approved it, and we're just saying that I'm quite sure we're going to be bringing some proposals back to you.
Yeah, we were some proposals on getting approved to cut it. There's some, I think where we could buy some equipment that we need, that I need to come and get some approval to buy out there to help keep the grass away in the dirt. And so by the time we do all that, we can really start looking at the bigger picture of what needs to maintain those fields. It's not just paying someone to come cut them, but every year buying the right equipment to make sure that as it gets better and better and the price goes down, because just cutting, that we're buying the right equipment so we can maintain it with the staff that's already out there as well.
Right now, we're already spending $50,000, and I understand that. And what are we gonna do when that will no longer cover it?
Well, that one of the.
Is it gonna fall back on us or the city?
It's going to be to fall back on the city.
Mhm.
Because
There's gonna be a shortfall.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's what we were trying to enforce, and we went round and round and round with the Little League, was that, they say, can we play for free? We kept saying, nothing can be free,
Because it's
because
a maintenance.
I need to maintain those fields. And I think at the inception, this was like 2, maybe 3 years to get up and going, but that's what we want to be able to put the money on, to put it back into those fields.
And you'll see what.
We talked about the MOU earlier, we talked about maybe getting some sponsorships and things such as that. So whatever sponsorships that we get, we want to put the money back on those fields.
So we worked with Little League, me and Ches, and helped negotiate, not negotiate, but talk a contract that works best for both. We know that there's some lapse in the way the bill was cut, so we